bring the January 11th, 2016 public meeting of the Fayette County Area Planning Commission to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beverly, would you please take attendance?
Ryan Jennings,
Here.
Leota King. Here. Mark Flum,
Here.
Chad Frank, Warren Sudol,
Here.
Carl Hilton,
Here.
Ed Harrell,
Here.
Jason Waterman,
Here.
Dick O'Neill,
Here.
Bill McDaniel,
Present.
John Baker,
Here.
and myself.
All right. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the December 14th, 2015 area planning meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the December 14th meeting and table the approval of the August 6th and September 14th meetings as they have not been presented.
Okay.
I'll second. Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor of approval of the December 14th, 2015 minutes and tabling the minutes from August 6th and September 14th, 2015, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Next on our agenda is the election of officers.
Okay, we want to say one thing as we know that the resignation from Ms. Todd and with the different types of communications between three possible candidates with it, offered the position of the board's APC and BZA secretary to Beverly Rude. Part of that is also that Beverly Rude's also familiar with the Area Plan Commission office, having worked in the surveyor's office, and basically quite a bit of help during the whole time with the wind energy. So that was a lot of help. So she's really very familiar with what we do anyway. So it'll be with that recommendation, is recommended Beverly Rude as the board secretary.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
No motion's made.
No
No motion
has been
made.
made.
Oh,
Yeah, there's.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Be
First-
appointed secretary.
Go start in order.
We need to
Start in
do
order.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
officers first.
That's right.
Okay, we'll open the nominations first for president.
I nominate Mr. Jennings, President.
I'll second. I'll move the nominations be closed.
Second it.
Just a little faster, fellas.
Thank goodness you can get to it going to the Channel 3.
Okay, all in favor of myself as president, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, and if we could repeat to help Ms. Rude out, the motion was made by Mr. Flum.
Yes.
The second was by Mr. O'Neill. Okay,
Okay.
motion to close was made by
Mr. Waterman.
Mr. Waterman,
Okay.
seconded by
I think.
Mr. Flum.
Mr. Flum. Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
and unanimous both times around.
nominations now for vice president.
I nominate Ed Harrell.
Second.
I'll move nominations be closed.
I second it.
Woo-hoo!
He'll be okay.
Yeah, Ed, it's a good thing you're a train enthusiast.
We're on train.
Okay, all in favor of Ed Harrell as vice president, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, secretary.
I move to nominate Bev Rude as secretary.
Second.
I make a motion to close nominations.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of Beverly Root for secretary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Congratulations, Beverly.
Thank you.
Okay, now appointments. Appointment for executive director.
I move we retain Bill McDaniel as executive director for
Well, I'm sweating
2016.
that.
Well, I was gonna make them wait a while.
Well, you can wait on your
I
second.
second the motion.
Okay, all in favor of retaining Bill McDaniel as executive director, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you're still with us.
Well, I'm above the ground.
Okay, next is attorney.
I move that we retain Mr. Baker as the APC attorney.
Second it.
All in favor of retaining Mr. Baker as our attorney for the APC, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now, that leaves us with the APC citizen appointee to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And that is currently Mr. Harold. And the only ones that are eligible, the board members know, but anybody who's out there are just the citizens that are appointed. In those cases, that would be Mr. Harrell. Mr. Waterman is already appointed as his dual role, Mr. Hilton and Mr. O'Neill.
I make a nomination that we retain Ed Harold as our appointee.
Second.
Okay,
We
So-
have seconded.
APC citizen appointee to BZA is recommended of Ed Harrell. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Bill, that takes us next to on our agenda to the annual plan.
Okay, and as we spoke about this a little bit both in November and then also December. So there's excuse the home occupations being on the first one. That should be reviewing the sign regulations, and particularly for the temporary sign regulations for content neutral, based on the Supreme Court decision of Reed versus Gilbert, Arizona. That really should be the first thing that I'll focus on. Mr. Flum last week raised some questions of other things to look into as far as reducing the maximum height of signs. And there's a few things I referenced to Mr. Flum. So that should be one thing, and I guess I'll also look at those type of items, and then some of the other things we discussed previously about trying to simplify other things in the sign regulations and things that aren't used to remove them. Second item is the home occupation regulations. And, this is, I think we really have the time to do that this year. That's to go ahead and make it fit this 21st century economy rather than a Depression era economy and land uses. A lot of that is done, so it should reflect the intensity of the use. For example, some things might be appropriate on a rural property where maybe it's on 10 acres, which might not be appropriate in a subdivision within the city of Connersville residential area. And I think it's time that we actually sit back and take a little more of a look, as time allows us toward the end of the year, to really look at the fees to reflect the actual costs, which haven't been changed since 1993. They should really, two ways to look at it is to either, one way is to reflect the actual change in the actual changes in cost expenses since 1993. Another way is to base it on the number of reflections of what the actual cost, the number of times I'm out on the site. or there's a possibility of then combining the two approaches based on the size of some of the projects. And if there's any other things through the course of the year that come up that board members, of course, require, and something becomes a priority, by all means, we can work things in as they need to be worked in. Any questions or comments from any of the board members, planning commission members?
Well, I'd like to stress a little bit about the sign thing that I kind of brought up to you. And I know probably all of you have been in communities where now signs for the local businesses, restaurants and stuff are being a lot smaller now to take away from the attraction and make the, community a little bit better. I drove through recently, the last couple of weeks, I was over through Miami, Oxford, and then I went on over to Trenton and on over to Dayton. And even in the little town of Trenton, I was shocked at how many small signs there were, new signs. So any sign probably that's being taken down or a new business has to go with a lower sign. Just like the Walmart over in Oxford, they've got a huge mound of dirt out along the road along 27. They got a lot of trees planted on it, which kind of hide the store from 27, take away that site. Everybody knows where Walmart is, so they're going to find it. Same way with all your eating establishments. So I would like to try to work with get a deal going here to where we start doing that. Our community is considered a poor community, but there's no reason why we can't make it an attractive community. And I think if we start with some things like that, that's what it all takes. So I don't know what all that involves, Bill, what we have to do, but a good place to start, in my opinion, would be the new Burger King store that's going to go up there by Walmart here probably this spring.
Yeah, I checked in my records, because when I spoke with you previously,
Yes.
but when they made application, they have the application, but they haven't started. But they also made application for the sign at that time also.
Okay. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the Walmart sign up there is actually lower in height than the store out front there that has the Verizon and a couple other businesses there. That's the Walmart sign is actually shorter than that store. So I saw that this weekend. So.
Yeah, so there's one things I mentioned to Mr. Flum is one can look at is when something is newly being developed or redeveloped and there's actually doesn't cause a problem with the parking, you have a sufficient enough, a larger area as far as your setback and your green setback.
Yes.
And then that gives you an opportunity for having a low sign that isn't going to block, won't take up parking spaces.
Right.
Cars won't block the sign. It'll be out front between the parking and the actual street.
Yeah.
And that's something going with the parking. And when the designers for Walmart came through, they were quite surprised that we didn't have requirements for the trees in the park.
Yeah, that's
And I asked them if they could go ahead and do it. It's like, yeah, that's fine because Walmart's used to in places and other developments of putting in trees in the park.
yes, and they do that at Walmart over there in Oxford. They got trees. It only takes up 1 or 2 parking spots, and I don't think Walmart uses every parking spot in that lot.
No.
But there's a lot of places you can put trees, and it adds to the attractiveness of the community.
And there's some things that we discussed about with that is
Yeah.
that, say another one is if it looks as though to do some things, well, it's been a long time since there's been a lot of changes with views on parking. So maybe another one might be to then, while working on the signs, work in some of the things along the parking requirements as far as the trees or some other things along those lines.
Yeah.
Because really, parking and signs really do go hand in hand with commercial development.
But along with, in new businesses, if a present business has a sign up there right now, I'd like to implement somehow that if they decide to take that sign down, the present sign, they have to go with the new lower. So as long as they keep the big one, that's okay. But if they want to replace it, they got to go with smaller. That's what I'd like to see put in place somehow. So that's it.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns for Bill on the annual plan? Okay, next on our agenda is the director's report, annual report.
Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out, if you'll look at the total amount of fees generated, is the big difference was the amount of fees generated from the building permits is quite a bit less, about $7,000, but there's more total. And the big one with that is the big difference were the fees that were generated for the wind farm. So that's why that, to explain that apparent anomaly within the actual fees up on the top. So if you go from the right to the left, you go in 2015, 14, and 13, you'll see the actual changes. Because overall, the total amount of fees generated, yeah, it's only a little bit more each year.
Okay, any questions for Bill regarding the director's report?
I move to accept it.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the director's report, accepting it, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay, now then, what I also have in front of everybody is, you know, a lot of you received an email. I want to give everybody a hard copy, since not everybody does take the email of the actual, all of the dates associated with meetings for 2016. So we're starting from the left-hand, left column over, it's the APC meeting date. The next column is the last day to post the agenda, which is the, at least 10 calendar days previous to it. Okay, the last day for the publication of the, oh, that was an error on the last day of publication, but for December. But there's the last day of the publication. There's then we have the APC, the BZA application submission date, and that's referred to it as it's the drop dead date for getting everything in my grubby little hands. So I have time to prepare staff reports and get everything to you with the detail that I try to provide. And then there's no project that's actually calling for the technical advisory committee meeting. There's no date set up. And so when the time comes to look more closely at other parts of the zoning code, we may set that may be an appropriate time to set up a technical advisory committee made of APC and BZA members.
Is that any further comments from any of the board members? Seeing none, then that leaves us to adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned.
I call order the January 11th, 2016 meeting of the Fayette County Board of Zoning Appeals. If you'd all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. We have a light agenda tonight. First item would be roll call. Bev?
Carrie Steele, Kenny Burgess, Bill Crawford,
Here.
Ed Harrell,
Here?
Jason Waterman,
Here.
Bill McDaniel,
Present.
John Baker,
Here.
and myself.
Okay, good. We have a quorum. Next item then of business would be minutes of our meetings of December 14th and the meetings of August 8th, 2015 and September 14th, 2015. And we have our minutes from our December 14th meeting in front of us.
I'd make a motion that we accept the meetings from December 14th as presented.
Okay. You want to include a table of the
And
other
then-
two?
Yeah, we'll table the other two.
All right. Can we have a second on that one?
Second?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, minutes are approved for December 14th, and hopefully we'll do the other 2 months next month. Next item would be the election of officers. We need to fill our slots for chair, vice chair, and secretary. However, we do not have 2 members of our board with us tonight, so if you guys would like, we could motion to table the election of chairs till next month, when hopefully we'll have the full suite of 5 members.
I'll make a motion, we table it until the next meeting when the other board members are here.
I'd second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Should we go ahead and do the secretary? Or-
Yep.
All right. Now, we can do secretary, and we have Bev Rude here, who is appointed by APC. So if you want to move forward with our secretary, we could do that.
Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, I would move that we appoint Beverly Rude as our secretary.
I'll second it.
All in favor of Beverly Rude as our secretary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. All right. Next item then would be the director's report. Have anything to share?
Nothing else?
We have a motion to approve the director's report as it was presented,
Which is nothing.
which you guys got hard copies of.
I make a motion that we accept them as presented.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Bill. Thank you for your hard work.
Yep.
And if there's nothing else, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Meeting adjourned.